Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be my first book haul of 2024. I feel like this year I've been very reasonable. I don't know about you, I feel like I haven't been really in the mood to shop or really willing to shop. Everything is so expensive lately. So I've been trying to focus on decluttering my shelves. We're going to do that a lot more this year, but I have accumulated a few books that I am looking forward to reading. Some of them I've already read, so I'm going to include a little bit of a review. And I have mostly pre-ordered books, I feel like, this year. So it's almost half-half. So we're going to go through them just to chat, get comfy, and let's get to it. Earlier this year, I read 10 minutes, 38 seconds in This Strange World, which I really enjoyed. I read it because of your recommendation, and I liked it so much that I ended up getting something else by the author. This is The 40 Rules of Love, which you can tell I already started it, and I have a really good feeling about it. You know, when you start a book and you're like, oh, this is going to be a favorite. I might be completely wrong. We'll see in my wrap up at the end of the month, but I have a really good feeling, and I'm only like 38 pages into it. I thought this was going to be a really emotional book once again because the other one was a lot, but you guys told me this one is quite positive, which I could need that. I do need that. But it's about love in general. I mean, clearly. From what I understand, you're following these two timelines. The first one is like present time-ish. This woman, she is a housewife. She's married. She has 3 kids. And she seems kind of lost in life. She has been accepting that her husband is cheating on her. She's not super close to her family, but she's like been spending her whole life really living for them, as is probably a thing that a lot of women can relate to. And at the same time, she just started this job where she has to read this manuscript, and it seems to be like just for her. And it's retelling a story from 1200. I think it's like 1200 and something. So it goes back and forth between 2008, so like now-ish, and what's the other one? 1242. So I'm really interested in seeing how this is going to go, and am I gonna like this? I think I will. I think I will. If I like that, this is her most popular one. I had the other one, Island something, that one, but I saw this was her most popular book, so I decided to pick it up, and I couldn't resist. I started it, and we're hoping for the best. Let's talk actually about the 2 that I've already finished. The first one, I have done the vlog. It should be up already. This is One Dark Window. I decided to pick this up because, like I said, I've been in a funk and reading slump at the same time, and I read books, but I don't find myself enjoying them that much, or just, you know, I'm not in a great mood, and I wanted to read something really readable, so I picked up 2 books, including this one, and this is an adult fantasy romance. I didn't realize there was romance, and frankly, I do still think it reads YA because it's like insta-love. But it's super readable. So you guys were right. The hype was right. Very, very readable. It's 400 pages. I read it in 3 days and I flew through it. I am still unsure if I will continue the rest of the series or not, but I found it intriguing enough to just, you know, read the whole thing. Premise-wise, some fantasy are so complicated. You have this world where there's this mist that can get people sick, and when they get sick, they can develop certain magical power, but the king is trying to everyone that catches it, and at the same time, he's trying to find all the magical cards to reverse the situation. That's like the simplest way I can try to explain it. The main character, of course, has been infected, and she has this power, but mostly she hears this monster in her head. But then there's this boy. Raven. They always have names like that, right? He has, is it the one that has the gray river rock eye? This is what I mean by like the YA tropes. Like they always have like very specific scents or eye color. It's always like that. Anyway, I'm not complaining because, again, very readable, but yes, the insta-love was a bit much for me. But you have these, oh no, unfortunate things like, oh, they're forced to pretend to be courting. So if that's your thing, definitely check this out and let me know. Should I continue? Should I not? Your choice at this point. I don't know. I can't make decisions anymore. And then I picked up Divine Rivals because, again, this was something that was really, really hype, and I wanted to see for myself if I was going to like it or not. And I was planning on vlogging it, which I did, but I don't think I'm going to post it because I didn't end up loving it. This is definitely YA romance. And if you like journalists, character, I think you would enjoy this because there's this war and the main female character is trying to become a journalist and she is trying to compete against this boy for this position, but then kind of ends up going to the war and writing about the situation. So you have this going on and then, oh no, unfortunately they fall in love. This one was not insta-love, but I felt like they flip-flop like out of nowhere. It just felt a bit, but it doesn't matter. This was also very, very readable. Actually, I do like look how pretty this is. Their Iris, that's her name. And yes, also very hyped, but this one I'm not planning on continuing. Kind of a spoiler for my wrap up at the end of the month, but doesn't matter. I will not continue this series because of the way it ends. I mean, I wasn't going to anyway, to be completely honest, but the ending was frustrating. I could have looked past the romance, which was extremely cheesy, but it was expected, but I couldn't forgive the way it ends. I just completely lost interest, the little bit of interest I still had. So I understand the hype, but this is definitely a kind of YA books I don't want to read anymore, so it's fine. The next book I picked up because someone recommended this just series in general. These are interviews of famous authors, and this one is about Octavia E. Butler. So the last interview is the series, and it's a bunch of her interviews, and she is one of my all-time favorite authors. I love her, and I was really curious to read more about her because I haven't really read that much about her. Like, I've read her books, but not much about her. And I'm not done, but I'm not quite halfway through. And so far, I'm gonna say that some interviews are much better than the ones. I feel like the first two were kind of weak, but I mean, they're in order, at least so far, chronologically, so probably wasn't as famous, so maybe the people that interviewed her were not as invested in her work. And the third one was so much better. So I'll keep you updated on how it goes, but I'm enjoying getting to know her a little bit better. But yeah, I'm hoping that it's going to keep improving because, again, the journalists, the people interviewing her will know more about her and just have more interesting questions. Just gonna say it. The first two were weak, okay? But the third one compensated so far. So these are the ones that I have ordered and read or tried to. Let's go to the ones that I have pre-ordered because I think that's fun. The first one is Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is coming out before the end of the month. I think it's on the 23rd of April, and I will be reading it as soon as it's out, and I think I'm going to vlog it because I've really enjoyed her books so far. I've read 4 so far, and 2 of them are like all-time favorites. 2, I feel like I love her like enemies to lovers more, but in general she tends to write, well, okay, Beach Read and Book Lovers. She wrote about characters that were more mature. I feel like it was less like misunderstanding and just annoying tropes in romance and more just the good stuff. Plus her books, what I enjoyed, even though they are romance, they're not just about that. I really enjoyed the side characters. So like Book Lovers, it's also about her relationship with her sister, and then Beach Read is also about grief. So like there's just a lot more to it. So really enjoyed those so far. So this one is a little bit different plot-wise as far as I understand. Main character, she ended her relationship with her fiance, or more like he realized he was in love with another friend. So she moves in a completely different location, completely alone, and she gets her dream job. I think it's in a library. Yeah, children's library. I like that the author's always making her characters be into the whole like book, library, publisher world because we all love it, of course. So yes, I'm looking forward to reading this one and hoping that I'm going to enjoy it as much as Book Lovers and Beach Read. The next one I pre-ordered will not be a surprise to anyone, and it is Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 5th book in the Stormlight Archive series, which is going to technically be a 10-book series, but it's going to be divided in 2. So this would be like the finishing of that first part, and I have only read the first 2, kind of here. I wanted to know, should I continue and try to read all 3 this year? I feel like that's probably excessive, but like I need to continue, but I've just been pushing it over and over because his books are like 1,000 pages. And it's intimidating. I can't help it, okay? But I've really enjoyed the first 2, so I need to continue. Did I need to pre-order it instead of just buying it when I'm at that point? No, but this isn't what this is about, right? This is about hoarding all the books. So I decided to hoard it because I know I'm going to enjoy it. The first 2 books were 5 stars. So easy. I feel like as adult fantasy is definitely something I enjoy. Why less so? But I'm excited. Have you started the series? I feel like if you enjoy fantasy, this is like the series to try, but are you up to date? Because clearly I'm not. Future Emily here to add that I got one more book in the mail. Perfect timing for my birthday. Thank you, Zach. This was on my Amazon wish list. I've been meaning to read this nonfiction forever. This is Medical Bondage, Race, Gender, and Origins of American Gynecology. So I don't know about you, but I feel like I had heard of the name Dr. Sims as like the father of gynecology. And I feel like the more you hear about history in general, but medical history, the more horrified I am. Have you ever Googled, for example, where chainsaws came from? Like what they were invented for? Do that. Come back. Be terrified with me in the comment section. But yes, Dr. Sims was actually experimenting without any kind of painkillers, anesthesia on Black women in the US. And this book is about that. And I'm really curious to hear more about it. It's not super long, but I feel like it's going to take me forever to go through because it's just so horrifying just thinking about it. But it's about 120 pages, and I've been really, really wanting to read this and just learn more. I feel like in the last couple of years, I've been reading more and more books about medical misogyny and in this case, racism. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much. And going back to the rest of the video. I also got the audiobooks for Tom Lake by Anne Patchett, which I've technically started, but I'm like 11% into it. So like, from what I understand so far, you have this woman who is retelling a story to her kids and how she became maybe an actress. Like you have like the back and forth between the timelines of her telling the story of her to her kids, and she's married, they have a farm, a cherry and apple farm, and then you have her as a kid trying to, or kind of ended up accidentally going into theater. So that's what's going on so far, but it is performed by Meryl Streep, so I really wanted to try it that way, and I'm hoping for the best. This cover, I don't do cover buys, but I feel like I would want to own this book because of this cover. It's so beautiful. But yes, I wanted to try something a little bit outside my comfort zone, and that seemed like a good idea. The reviews so far were fairly positive, although some of you warned me that with the reading slump, it's probably not the time for it, but I'm stubborn and I started it. And then we have A Starter Villain by John Scalzi. Okay, not gonna lie, the cover, slightly appealing to me, and mostly a lot of you told me that I needed to try it. I feel like his books in general, I've only read just one, I think. But I feel like a common theme that I read is that people say that they're funny, or I feel like that's the vibe I've been getting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is an adult fantasy. And it says that it's like the main character inherits his uncle supervillain business, and that it's more complicated than you would think, which like, I've read a couple books actually about supervillains. I feel like I don't care for superheroes. Is that unpopular? I feel like a lot of like movies, I don't care. I really don't care. But the supervillains, I will explore that topic, especially in books, and that sounded like that will be a good one. The main character is like a divorced substitute teacher living with his cats, which can't relate. But out of all of the supervillain stories that I've read, the only ones that I really like was Vengeful, actually, by V.E. Schwab, which is the second book in this series. But unpopular opinion, apparently, people preferred first book. I prefer the second book. But I'm looking forward to maybe, hopefully, finding a favorite. Maybe it will surpass Vengeful. Maybe. But yes, I will be receiving all of those whenever they come out. So should I read those as soon as I get them? Should I not? Should I focus on the ones that... Actually, I've tried most of the books that I've bought so far this year that I have physically, which frankly, I'm really impressed. This is usually not the kind of thing I do. Last year, I bought like 100-something books, right? I had kept them all in the cabinet over there to make a video of like, did I read them? And I read a good amount. Not really. I calculated the percentage and I purposely forgot. I will not go back to look. And it was not impressive. Let's just go with that. So I don't know if part of me realized by doing this video that, ooh, maybe I should like slow down with the purchases, or maybe because again, the economy right now is not the greatest. I just have been trying to focus on enjoying what I have as much as possible. So I'm really proud of myself for like having read or being about to, or starting most of the books that I've bought and own, and the other ones I'll try to do the same whenever I receive them. But yes, this year I really want to try to declutter. I feel like I need to do a couple videos on that topic. Next month my whole TBR is going to be books on my shelves, so I feel like it's been like that-ish. I use my library a lot, but like still, I've been really trying to do that, and I do need to do a few vlogs. Let me know if you have like certain topics that you would like me to do again. I know some of you wanted me to do like a part 2 of reading the books that you think I will hate, that I have already bought, and are on my shelf. Just, you know, my taste has changed, or like I've heard things since. So I have still my shelf up there of fantasy books that I've heard questionable things and you've warned me. So I could declutter most of those probably after trying them because I can get rid of them without doing that. So yeah, let me know if there's anything like that you would like to see and I will get to work. And by that I mean I will go back to reading this because so far, you know, when you have the writing style, you're just like, oh, this is going to be good. Yes, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe. I'll put more videos that I've posted recently that I recommend you check out, including actually the one I was telling you about, me reading the books that you think I will hate, because that was a shit. And I will see you in a quick video very soon. Bye.